evening and welcome to the Selectmen meeting. It's November 13th. Everybody is here except Lonnie. Can I have a motion to approve the minutes?
There was corrections to that minutes that Sue is making, so if the motion is to accept the amended minutes, then I'll make that motion.
Second.
What were the corrections?
The correction was it still was reading as reconsider for having the meeting we just had. And what the motion that was made was to renew the motion that had previously been made, because it was not proper to have it as a reconsideration.
Oh, okay. So you second that, Sam?
Yeah.
Any questions? All in favor? Okay. All right, Ingo is not here yet, so we're going to move on to discussion of Raymond Roadrunner and Wyndham Eagle. There was some people that were supposed to come tonight, hopefully, to talk with us. I'm back again with Raymond Roadrunner. It's been discussed, and Sue has some information on that too, is the Wyndham Eagle distributes the newspaper. And actually Lorraine called me earlier and said if there's anything they can do to help us with this or work with us or whatever. They are willing to give us the center pages of the Wyndham Eagle as the Raymond Roadrunner and call it the Raymond Roadrunner. And Sue, correct me if I'm wrong. And we would have those two pages, $400 a page, I believe. And we can pick how often, how not often we want it. So it would be $800. And I think, I'm not sure how many years ago we had the Raymond Roadrunner. It's been quite a few years. I think we budgeted at that time, it was $10,000. And we have somebody that's willing to step up and help with the article, help with the putting it together. But Wyndham Eagle is willing to print it, distribute it, then we can distribute it to either Wyndham and Raymond, or we can just keep that part of it to Raymond, is what it is. And so people can pull it out and use the Raymond Roadrunner for reference, whatever. One of the things I saw on Facebook that somebody posted was trying to get word out about Raymond Rec, Raymond Soccer, getting more kids involved because they're not allowed to distribute it through the schools anymore. So you put something out there on Facebook, and by that time, people are only catching part of it and they're not getting signed up. This would be a way to advertise. It would also be a way to advertise positions that are open up in town. The other thing is, Sue and I believe Mary are putting in notices all the time regarding public hearings, public whatever, and they have to pay for those. This would be included in the price to have those pages. What is it like for like an ad to post like like tonight's meeting?
Yeah. Well, tonight's meeting, it wasn't a.
No, the public meeting. What?
But the special town meeting, I haven't seen the bill for that. Have you, Kathy?
Usually it depends on how big the ad is. I've seen them 84 on the low end. I've seen them 156 on the high end.
Okay. And I know Mary said that they have to post on things as far as the planning board and the zoning board of appeals.
Yes, she does.
So we kind of came up with maybe the idea of maybe doing it once a month. And we can see how it goes, try it out. We put a town calendar on there. There's people that don't access the internet, but this would be a way for people to use the newspaper. I am just trying to utilize every possible way that we can get word out to people, because that is the biggest gripe that people have, is how do we get word out around town of what's going on and sign-ups. And this way, we can get people to say, hey, next month is ski signups. Next week we get the fruit sale. We got, this is what's going on in the schools. The school for Raymond here can put stuff in the Raymond Roadrunner too. And she said too, is this is something that would be Raymond's, is what it is.
Well,
So.
I think this is a heck of an opportunity. In my view, this is mountain from heaven. It's really tremendous.
Well, and
It's better than putting out the Raymond Roadrunner. It goes with this, which already has circulation.
right,
And so this is
Lorraine.
a no-brainer.
Lorraine said that Lorraine is the reporter for the Wyndham Eagles. She says this would all be dedicated to Raymond stuff, And Wendy Thorin, I've been dealing with her with it. She's the one that has offered to step up and help out, volunteer and help, and I'd help out as much or whatever. And she said there's a group of her neighbors and stuff like that are just, they were going to come tonight. And honestly, the roads are yuck anyways, and I don't blame them for not coming. But this way they wanted to be able to get their 2 cents out about having that Roadrunner back. And we can try it if it works. If not, I mean, the library can post things on there. I think there's enough stuff to fill 2 pages. And if we find later, I don't know, 3 pages, I don't know, could be. It depends on what's going on in town. So between having a Facebook page, between having the signs, and trying to consolidate some of the money that we would be posting. Do you guys think like you post at least monthly in there?
Mary posts more often than I do. You don't have public hearings that often, and that's when I need to send in an official notice, that and for the elections.
So Mary posts maybe 2 a month, maybe.
I would say so.
Yeah. So what? Maybe that's like $100 each. So that's $200 right there.
Yep.
So right there, you take that $200 that she's going to spend on that posting, and that's knocking it down. That she wouldn't have to pay the Wyndham Eagle. That we would put it on the Raymond page.
That's assuming, of course, that the posting deadlines, and we have to check that out, would correspond with the publishing, schedule. I mean, there may be a way to coordinate those 2 things together.
I looked at the calendar somewhat, and I think if the Raymond Eagle came out either the 3rd or 4th week,
That would work?
that would work.
Okay.
We'd have to look at it a little more closely, but I think we could do that, because the planning board and the select board meetings are roughly the same week, and so are most elections and town meeting. They would fall into that as well, so I think we could do that.
Not to go dipping my hand into Sue's cookie jar as far as posting ad money, but there's money set aside right now for posting ads that maybe we can combine with the Roadrunner, and yeah.
I agree. Who is going to help with the writing of the?
Well, Wendy Thorne has offered to step up. She's
Wendy?
the first one. Yeah.
Yeah, she's good. Yeah.
She's good, and I like Wendy used to be the secretary over at the school for years.
Yeah.
She's on the Tassel Top board.
Right.
Yep. Oh, wait a minute, hold on. We still.
It's not important, but I used to do that for a living.
No, I know that. No, and this is just getting it out there. So what happens is if everybody submits the articles in, and it's not going to be a slam fest by no means. It's an informational thing to get out. Like right now, the playground. They're raising money for the playground over there, and I think I saw the papers, well, online and the papers in the town office. They're selling pies to raise money for the playground equipment.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. So it's another community thing that we can get out there. So, Marshall, you got questions?
Can we get a lot of information from the school without running into the big shots of Wyndham? Can we get the pie sales? Can we get the play that they put on every year? Can we get that information from them?
They still have a PTO, don't they?
Okay.
Yeah, and the PTO and the PTA would do it. But here's another thing is, if you're a parent and you want to be able to report on what's going on in the school, they should be able to, because this is a community event.
Yeah, I would like, I've had this conversation with Wyndham Eagle, as you know, and as long as we can supply them with enough fodder to keep that 1 or 2 pages alive,
Right.
great, I'm all for this idea. One of the issues I think we're going to have to address is, do we allow advertising in those 2 pages? And are we going to allow commercial advertising in those 2 pages?
That is something that I did talk to Wendy. I think it was
Right.
Wendy. I was batting it off with somebody is what it is. I'm thinking if you've got 2 pages, and if we get like the Boy Scouts, the Girl Scouts, the rec teams, the school, stuff that's going on in town office, things that are going on fire, whatever. I think there's enough things in there that I don't think we should be dealing with that part of it.
I
to be
don't either.
honest.
I don't
agree.
either, that's
I
why
agree.
I asked the
Yeah.
question.
I don't want to deal with the money of going and
No.
chasing people down, collecting the bills to do it.
Will they-
Does that make sense?
The bigger issue to me, I mean, that makes sense on advertising. I'm fine with that, but the piece that I'm not quite sure about, I hear Wendy Thorne and there may be other people interested. that there were people, and it's a significant undertaking to produce this thing, even monthly. And so, in the old days, it was folks like Lori Forbes, Norma Richard. There were people who volunteered to, sit down and edit this material, and it's a significant amount of work to do that. And then we had John Hanley, although he did layup and other things as well. I think we had a budget of about $10,000 for printing and about $10,000 for staff. And so when we did the Roadrunner, roughly. So if we're going to need a few volunteers, I'm worried a little bit about the staff, the impact on the staff, and maybe it's something we can add in and without a problem. But writing the articles, one thing; getting everything set up and edited, another thing.
No, I think what we did before
Unless they're
was,
going to do that for us.
yes, and that's my understanding, right, Sue? They're gonna do it all up. We're gonna submit the articles, is what it is, and that way, if we've got one person, and I'm gonna talk more of it. I know Wendy was really excited about
Yeah,
this.
but
and she's
I'm
supposed to
saying
bring-
I'm saying we should have our own local editing.
Right, and in that cases, we would have. I don't think staff's involved in that. To be honest, is
Well,
what it
staff's
is.
involved in writing the articles, and then we have to have them. Then we'd have somebody internally to edit them and make sure. I don't think we want to.
It'd be your own town article. It'd be your own town office articles. It wouldn't be like Raymond Rec. It wouldn't be.
I understand that, but I'm saying that what we had various staff people. Let's say Nathan wrote an article about summer road work, and then that would be submitted, and then there would be somebody who would edit the article, look it over and make sure, not to pick on Nathan, but anybody wants a second set of eyes on their writing,
Well-
and so you'd be relying on the Wyndham Eagle to do that under this scenario, unless you had a volunteer group.
And
Or-
we would.
No,
we
what
would.
she's
Right.
saying is they'll do the layout, not the editing.
Exactly. But he's
Okay.
yes, and
Okay,
I'm not.
well, I'm saying we need someone to
Right.
do the editing.
Yes, and that's why we're still working through this. But like
that
off.
like Wendy has.
Wanna take that
And I
off?
have to talk more with Wendy
Well,
about
let
this
me
because
know
I'm not
more
going to put it
about
all
it.
on her because I have no problem
Time-wise,
helping
I'd
out
be glad
to
to
push
take a
this
look
thing,
at it.
to volunteer to do
Yeah.
whatever.
I'm all for it. I think it's a great idea, but I think we need to have that group of volunteers too, along with the staff.
Right.
Now, the other question I would have is, right now, 2 weeks out of the month, you've got a Raymond page in there that has other organizations and things like that. Will they continue to have that, or are they going to say, oh no, this is your thing? Because that picks up it picks up churches, it picks up things like that. Are you going to put those in there? And if not, have you now just cut the legs out from under them? Because if Wyndham Eagle says, hey, this is our way, we can cut out this one person, and now we've got this extra space.
No, it's my understanding that those are our two papers, or our two pages, and they have to fit.
I
oh,
understand that, but
you're
right
saying what
now,
doesn't fit on there.
twice a month, every other week, there is a Raymond page that's in there. There's events in Raymond that's in there every 2 weeks. If their intent would say, okay, now you've got 2 pages of Raymond, we don't need to do that anymore. Now you've taken away the ability of other organizations to get things that were going in there that you may not be able to put into our 2 pages. So it only works if that still stays in effect. See what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think there's room for a lot more discussion and planning on this before we commit, and I can see some areas that, we need to deal with, like that one. If they're taking a paid ad out of here and putting it in a Raymond free pay, which we're paying for, then that's a loss of income to them, and I'm not sure they'd be happy with that.
Yeah, there's,
I can also see issues with commercial enterprises wanting to advertise inside our 2 pages. I think that's an issue.
Then I think that's something where if we took on a 3rd page, then there would have to be enough advertising of just 1 page of just Wyndham advertising. Raymond advertising.
I don't think you're advocating for 3 pages. What we're saying
No.
is,
No.
there's issues that are out there that have to get, that have to get looked at and addressed before you have a viable plan.
Well, that's why I'm bringing it, to see if you guys are interested in possibly moving on with this, to say yes, no. And I think it's something worth checking into.
And I agree. I think that I would proceed with further investigation.
I will say one thing, content will not be a problem in terms of volume, because the Roadrunner ran, sometimes 12 or 14 pages. So
But-
we won't have any problem filling the pages. But I think it is important that we keep what we have, that we're getting already, correct? Is that what we're talking about?
The Roadrunner, as I know it years ago, was loaded with school information.
Well, we'll be
Which we
again
would have
if
to
you go
develop.
down this road.
If we can do that with happiness from Wyndham, fine,
But
until that issue resolves itself. Let's go forward. Let's develop a plan.
and what I'm thinking is Lorraine she had
Yeah,
a
she
couple
should have
meetings.
been here, yeah.
No, she actually said she had a couple meetings to go to. I told her, no, we're just gonna start talking about it.
Yeah.
But I think this would be something that we should sit down with Kelly Mank and honestly, what I would ask from you guys is your questions written down so I can ask her directly.
Perfect.
And that way I can go talk to her.
Yep.
You know, and
Yep.
talk more to say what is needed, so if you guys can send me those.
Yep.
And I'll say, here we go, because that way I get it directly. Because Rolf, whenever I ask a question for Rolf, I'll go, no, you didn't ask it.
My sense in talking to her is that she's very amenable, will make anything we want
Yeah.
work. But she's never done this either, so maybe it is, I mean, it does make great sense, eminent sense to pose the questions directly, but they're very willing to try to make this work.
Lorraine, and I told them that there's nothing against their reporting. I just, people really like that Roadrunner, and that Raymond. And like she said about the Wyndham Eagle is a little bit, of Raymond, but it's a lot of, Wyndham and Raymond type stuff with the kids and the schools and stuff like that. And she says, and she understood it, she really did. And they've been awesome. And so so if you guys can send me your questions on that, I will get some answers back. And what I'm hoping to do is possibly stick it in budget talks in the budget season to see what we want to do. But that's we got some questions to come up with, and hey, we might get them in a month. I don't know.
We have a list, I'm sorry, Sam.
No, I'm just saying we ought to just say we're moving forward with that.
Yep.
I agree. I
All
agree.
the questions will be answered.
Yep. And so what happens is I'll get your questions, I'll talk, give you guys the answers back, and more questions may come up, and we'll ask more questions. We can even have them come talk to us.
We can ask people, for example, the library or the Raymond Rec, and all those people, if they would be interested in
So
contributing.
that would be part of
directly
the
to
process
us.
of moving forward. is
Well,
that-
I'm gonna.
Directly to,
The guy's name is, and I just got off of Jennifer Main's Facebook page. Sorry, Jennifer, I just threw your name out there. She said she's the PTO, so she would have a lot of information too.
Perfect.
But she said some Troiano guy said it's really hard
Yeah.
getting word out around people signing up for different programs, like rec program, basketball program, that type of thing. And so yeah, any way that we can get it again.
Okay,
All right, so send me your questions and we'll go from there.
yes.
Sue, considering authorizing the town manager to approve renewals of liquor licenses.
Okay, so I included in your e-packet a short memo. I attended a Municipal Clerks Association or a Cemetery Association meeting. No, I'm on the wrong thing. This is liquor, not cemeteries. I attended a clerks meeting where the liquor license folks from Augusta were down presenting. And they made some statements that were things that I wasn't familiar with. And one was that the municipalities, the law did change a bit ago, that the municipalities aren't required to hold a public hearing when you're renewing a liquor license. You certainly may, but that's how it's worded. There is no shall there. So what the consensus in the room was, and that was clerks from Cumberland County, was that in most towns in Cumberland County, the town manager or the town clerk are empowered to, or authorized to sign renewals of liquor license contingent upon the fire department doing their thing instead of bringing it to select board. The other thing that happens with some towns is the select board still makes that determination, but there is no public hearing that's held. So that takes away the cost of posting the public hearing. So that's one thing that I had heard there. Oh, that's right. There is also a personal property tax collection that they've been starting to work on with some towns. There's a part of the law that talks about how they can, that all fees owed to the town need to be paid for liquor licenses to be issued. So if there's someone that has a liquor license and wants to have it renewed, they haven't paid their personal property taxes, this may be a way that we could work with the town, with the state to go after them. somewhat and be able to get monies.
Whoa.
We do have at least one, we have one.
Yes. We don't have a lot of liquor licenses in
Personal
town, but
property and/or real estate?
just personal property. Because with real estate, we have the recourse of possession,
Wow,
or repossession, I should
I was
say.
looking for an easy way to collect some money.
Yeah. Mhm.
that's interesting.
So I just wanted to bring those up. I don't know if you want to do anything with it, but I did want you to know what I found at that meeting. I found it quite interesting.
Well, if we don't have to see the,
Yeah. I mean, you know, I mean, I guess, how many establishments do we have in town that have liquor licenses? I mean, you count them on one hand, can't you?
Yes.
So, I mean, it's not, this is not a massive issue. The
No.
biggest thing is we don't have to hold a public hearing.
That's correct.
You could still have it run through the select board, and then you just ask for public comment, if any, you know. I mean, because really all you're worried about, you know, what you're worried about is someone busting up the place and getting all the neighbors. Well, I mean, in theory, you'd know about that ahead of time, because somebody should have put a complaint into the sheriff long before, but, you know. But, I mean, I guess it goes into under the heading of, where you're fixing a problem that doesn't exist.
Liquor license flows to drinking establishments and also strictly retail establishments?
Retail is all the state,
Okay.
so it's
That's
where they're
separate.
serving alcohol,
Yeah.
Only serving?
Yes.
Only serving, yeah.
Okay,
or it's being consumed on their premises.
okay.
So under this, if there were no abnormalities, no issues outstanding, it could be approved by, and it's not something I'm angling for, the town manager and/or the clerk, and then we'd notice the board and the town of that renewal. Or in the alternative, it could be, as Rolf outlined, you could skip the public hearing now if that's not required for renewal, and have it run through the board. Of course, if there were any abnormalities, like fees are unpaid, or you have police reports, or you have a deficient fire inspection, then any or all of those would come. I wouldn't be able to approve it, nor would the clerk.
Right.
It would default to the selectmen. So I mean, there's a range of things you could do.
well, it would just default just until it's corrected and it's fixed. Like when they can't, like, we would say no if this stuff was
Well,
happening.
but you would have to address it. I think the only renewal that you could empower the clerk and or manager to do would be one that has no issues. Is that right?
You could do anything you wanted, but that's all I
That's
would.
the only one I would be comfortable with.
Yeah, that's all I would be comfortable with as well. So, and like Dawn, I'm not looking for more to do because I'm wondering what to do with myself. It's just, this was a learning that I had at the class and I found it interesting.
So we thought we'd just throw it out to you. No decision is required tonight, just something to think about.
I mean, because I think there is value in having the applicant have to come in front of people too. That
Hold
kinda-
accountable.
That kind of.
So why don't we just save the cost of the public hearing
Yeah,
and
save the
continue the
cost
way
of
we're
the
going
public
right now?
hearing, yeah.
Okay.
For
I
now.
agree with that.
Yeah,
I
I
think
do
as
too.
a board, we should at least have our finger in that part of it.
Okay. So we'll leave it as is, except for
Should
minus
there-
the town meeting, special town.
Public hearing.
Public- Oh my God, I get those words wrong all the time.
Should there be a
Not a
motion
special
to
town
that
meeting.
effect?
Yeah, there should be a
It's a
motion.
public hearing.
Mhm.
Two different.
There should be a motion.
Yes. Go ahead.
I'm thinking how to phrase it. I would move that liquor licenses from this point on be
Renewals of liquor license.
renewals of liquor licenses from this point be presented to the select board without public hearing.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Okay.
Okay.
Nathan, discussion of possible acquisition of 2016 John Deere tractor and roadside mowing machine.
Rowing machine. No,
How you guys doing?
Did I see what-
Is this possible?
It's cool. Looks like a big John Deere toy. Sorry.
I'm here to ask you guys if it's possible to purchase a piece of equipment that is not in my CIP plan. This is something that we stumbled across this year in trying to get our roads mowed back. It's a 2016 John Deere tractor with a 21-foot mower on the side of it. It's basically a bush hog on the end of a stick. And it gives us the ability to cut all that small sapling stuff that the sickle bar mower doesn't get. That's encroaching the roads, giving people with sight distance problems coming out of their driveways and intersections and whatnot. This is all a very important step in maintaining the roads. It's going to cut our time down considerably. We did in a day what would take us over a month by hand. It's an expensive piece of equipment. I think it's necessary. It's something I think we should have done a long time ago. The opportunities never came up until now. We rented it for a week this year to see if it would do what I thought it would do, and it did. Did a fantastic job. Any questions?
Nathan's like short and sweet.
By
Dawn?
way of additional information, this is not a certainty at this point, but we do have at least 2 other towns interested in, should we acquire the equipment, and, and it's manpower dependent, we would send an operator with it. We're talking about increasing staffing. So we have the opportunity to recoup some time with the machine. In both New Gloucester and Naples have talked to us about it. I think Casco, may well have some interest as well. So it could be something that we could share regionally.
The other one
But
that is-
even if we don't, I think it makes sense for us to have it.
The other one that is more certain than the other 2 towns at this moment is DOT. They're waiting a proposal. They're waiting to see if we purchase this, and they're looking at contracting us to do 85 and 121. It would be a reduced rate. I'm not looking to try to make money with this machine. I'm trying to cover the cost of it.
Trade it for them repaving it.
Well, that would be good. Yes.
But anyhow, so there are some methods, though, that we can help to mitigate the cost. And I'm with Nathan. One of the prime complaints that I get is that the roads aren't cut back, the sight lines are poor. We should do more cutting, more mowing. But the kind of mowing machine that we've had historically does not do what this machine does. I sent a picture so you can get a sense of what this is. And if not this one, I mean, this is an opportunity because it's a machine that's just a couple of years old, that is nearly new, and would serve us probably like a new machine in terms of length of time that it would be in service, but would be significantly less costly than a new one. It just kind of came our way. They're selling their rental fleet, and but if not this one, then perhaps we plan for another one in the future. This is the way to go in terms of maintenance, though.
This is about half the cost of a new one. The new one's just a little bit over $140,000 for new. I think he's pretty much covered it.
So,
Well, before Nathan leaves, what's the price, Ryan?
$78,999.
About $79,000,
Thank you.
which is not bad,
East
in
Leicester,
my
10
opinion.
Hartley Lane. My only concern, do we have a place to store this thing to keep it undercover?
Yeah,
We've got the old sand and salt building that's storage, and
Yep.
we do have the room for that.
yeah, you're talking financing it. I mean, from a practical standpoint, I don't have a problem with going ahead, of doing this. You're talking about financing it. My question would be, it's not in your CIP now, but the whole purpose of a CIP is to allow some flexibility in movement. So is it possible to move something in the CIP to be able to do that this year, and then we do some recapture into next year when we've got some of the bonds that are retiring?
Unfortunately, in my CIP, everything's accounted for. We've got an $86,000 truck ordered and coming.
Mhm.
That'll knock me down to 48 grand in the CIP account.
Okay, what about the town CIP? Because the town has a CIP as well.
That would be, that would involve the fire department, so the only other,
Oh, well, I mean, it's under.
I mean, I'm just looking at the fact that,
Yeah,
we have bonds retiring next year. And so we're gonna have some headroom next year. So can we find a way to, without blowing up the world, to cover it inside with where we are this year, and then we make up for whatever we shifted in next year's budget by shifting some things there.
so if we finance it now, to purchase the equipment now, July 1st,
Yeah.
I will have money in my CIP account. We could push one of the plow trucks off and eke another year out of that.
You know, I mean, it's just, you know, where we're retiring some bonds.
This
To
year,
take on,
correct.
to take on new bond debt doesn't make a whole lot of sense, because in a relative standpoint, it's not huge dollars. And so,
My only,
if we, you know, if we can take some of what we're gonna be saving on a bond payment next year and apply that here, are we ahead of the game?
that's gonna be a Kathy question, that's outside of my,
Well, there's a
Pay
multitude
grade.
of ways that you can actually go after this. I mean, you can do the lease purchase until, one of the things that because we discussed a whole bunch of things, one of the things that we discussed was to just put it on the lease purchase now and then pay it off as soon as July 1 hits. The other thing would be to have a special town meeting and take it all out of surplus, because there's enough surplus in there to take this.
Yeah, but I think there's some reluctance to calling special town meetings.
And the third way would be to utilize some contingency, a significant amount of contingency. That'd be
use
the
some
But I
third.
mean,
contingency
if your lease allows an immediate payout,
It does.
They do.
okay, then, you know, then we're looking at, essentially you'd have one lease payment.
Yes.
So we're not in for a whole, you know, we haven't got the load too much.
No.
So that's
The-
not, I would just say that, you know, if we do that, that we do that with the intent that we pick it up to pay off in
The July 1
And
payoff.
that's what,
in the
yeah.
next budget.
I agree with that. I don't think this is way below any bond reasonable bond amount. And I can't see us carrying long-term debt for this kind of.
No,
Well, it would be we're calling it a bond, but what you'd be talking about is a short-term obligation. But I'm in 100% agreement. It's too small to be even thinking about that for, but we don't have the liquidity to be able to just,
yeah.
because we've kind of done a lot in CIP all the way around town-wise, but this thing fell into our laps. It's a major opportunity, so we felt strongly that we should bring it to you, because we do think that this is something that's going to be a great addition and to our road maintenance efforts moving forward for a significant period of time. You know, you've seen the proposal, some residual value, and then you look at the possibility of sharing the resource with an income potential, revenue, perhaps not revenue neutral, but certainly revenue in. We thought we should bring it. And so I think to pay it off July 1 and have the discussion during the budget is the way to go, and utilize what we can use now safely. I think Nathan doesn't want to compromise by going too deep into his remaining funds. So what Kathy and Nathan think is safe to use the balance July 1.
But you also don't want to pass up on a really good deal this
Well,
fall and into the last.
half price for an almost new
Yeah.
machine is a good deal.
Right.
and I
Yeah, we-
should, if everything goes without a hitch, I'll have $48,000 in this year's CIP plan. And if we don't change anything, I'll have 210 going July 1st. That'll take care of that. And we still will be able to carry money forward and build up an account to replace trucks as we need.
Okay.
Well,
Okay.
I think that might be another discussion. I don't think I want to marry the purchase of this to your next year's CIP yet. I think
No,
we ought to keep that separate.
I'd run your CIP as you
Yeah.
do, but we just work the payment into the
Right.
overall budget.
Okay.
So add that extra in
Because,
for it.
Exactly.
As I
Yep.
say,
Yeah,
we have
because
some
what happens is
offset
your
coming
bond-
next year
borrowing
with
computer
bond
Right, right.
liquidation.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's
You're
one
trying
of-
to play
one of the
catch up.
bonds-
So we're still talking about putting down what we can
No.
put down.
or do-
Well, we have one 42,000 this year that's going off.
Okay,
And that was a lease purchase also, yes.
but I mean, I think, you know, I would think it, you know, reasonable to put the 79K into the budget
Yeah.
for next year.
As a standalone item.
You know,
Yeah.
as a capital purchase.
Right.
You know, and not
Leave your other
not
things.
affecting the CIP, because, you know, by taking on the plowing, we really don't want to shortchange ourselves there, where all of a sudden you're in trouble getting, you know, out in the road and on trouble. You know, I
Right.
just assume have that
As
run so
cushion.
that the program is a success, because, you know, if that blows up in our face, then
We're in trouble.
we're in big
Yeah.
trouble.
So you're talking, I may be getting confused here, but so you're talking about the entire amount in the budget?
Well,
No,
you'd
I'm
be
saying
my,
you're gonna finance, you're gonna purchase it this year, you're gonna do the finance. But
Right,
then
we're gonna take what we
We're
feel
gonna
is
take
prudent.
whatever's left to pay it off and put that in
Right.
next year.
July 1st, the
Right.
59.
It's a standalone item.
Yeah.
not-
But the issue with this machine is we've got to act on it if we want this one.
That's what they're
That's
talking
what
about,
I'm saying.
finance
That's
it
what
right
I'm
now.
saying. You're gonna go out and get it now, you're gonna do the finance.
Got it? Yeah.
And then we're gonna put into the next year's budget, whatever the payoff is on it.
Which
So what
would be
Nathan
50.
needs to do is you need to make sure you add that into your
Yeah, it's-
budget.
the payoff, the first year payoff would be 59,249.25.
That's fine.
Okay, so make sure you add that into your budget.
I'll forget all that.
Done deal.
Who's gonna call him out on it? Not me.
No, I will, that's fine.
All right, can I have a motion for that? For him to do it?
Move the purchase of the 2016 John Deere 6105 E4 X4 tractor and roadside mowing machine with financing to allow for early payoff and to,
Make sure you put yeah at the end of that motion that you just did. Can I have a second?
Second.
Did you finish your motion?
He put yeah at the end
I
of
was
it.
gonna put in there to, you know, to put in the, but that's not appropriate in a motion, to put it in, you know, we gotta put it into the budget for next year.
No.
So that's why I stopped it there.
Can we drive it?
Could I amend your motion? With the understanding that the balance of this unit is to be paid off July 1st?
Or soon thereafter?
Yes.
You guys all right with that? Again, can we drive it?
No.
No.
Hey.
You
Third
could-
time's
you
a
could drive
charm.
the boat.
No, I'm not allowed to go near the boat.
Okay, so
Shall
who
we-
who seconded?
I second the motion.
Okay,
As amended.
we were discussing if I could drive it or not. All in favor? All right,
Thank you very much, appreciate it.
can I drive it?
No, still no. You're not licensed.
You do my
I
driveway?
have a license.
Yes, we'll do
that.
You don't have a CD, you don't have
You'll
a
bring the warrant
roadside mowing
tomorrow.
license.
Can I drive it? Yeah, really, is there a road, yeah,
You
roadside?
don't have a
Thank
wingman
you.
license.
Yeah, really, oh my gosh. All
What?
right, going back,
Put it on your desk.
I'm gonna jump back to Sebago Lake Rotary Annual Ice Derby. What do you guys wanna do about that? Ingo didn't show up tonight.
What was, he was gonna present the same thing he does each year, which
Mhm,
is.
that's
the-
what I'm thinking.
Which was the approval to.
Have the ice derby, but does
Yeah.
anybody know when?
I do not.
So I guess the thing is, I'll move to table that till the next meeting.
You don't know, do you, Nate?
I don't, I can make a phone call and find out if you want. You wanna move on and I'll find out, is that all you need, a start date to?
I was gonna text to see if he was coming, but no. All right, moving along, public comment. Everybody stare at Louise, maybe we're
Well,
supposed to.
5 minutes out.
Selectman comment.
Okay, I'll stay. I'll stay.
Yes. I wonder if in the December meeting, we could take a look at past due taxes in excess of $5,000.
Sure.
We do that, normally do that, but I'd like to do it in December in anticipation
The other
of
thing,
January.
Sue has been busting her behind
I
and doing
understand.
good
We're
with,
doing
no,
really
she's doing
good.
good with that.
We're doing
Yeah.
really good.
the other thing that will be coming up, of course, in December, and you'll see it in plenty of time, but, so you have even more time. We'll be asking you what you'd like to see for budgetary goals.
Okay, cool. No, yeah,
Can I-
Sue's,
well,
Sue's
can-
done good.
Can I ask to take something out of order, so that Kathy can leave? Can we do the warrant out of order?
Is this a parliamentarian thing?
I think
You're
that
allowed-
we,
you're
I
allowed
think we
to
can
take
move
some-
out of order.
Yes, you're allowed to take.
Yeah, go
that.
ahead. We're
Okay.
gonna jump into the treasurer's warrant.
Okay. Move the warrant, the treasurer's warrant at $289,485.89.
Second.
All in favor? All right, we're gonna sign it. Okay, back to selectmen comment. And I'm just,
Nathan is.
Unsuccessful, the two numbers I had, nobody answered.
Okay.
okay,
In that case, we'll table it until the next meeting.
got it. This one.
This goes with it.
Oh, it does? All right. The next couple days is supposed to be kind of crazy with weather. People slow down. We're supposed to get snow on Friday, so please, please take it easy. Apparently there was an accident right on 302 tonight that they had to, I think, pry the girl out of it.
Too bad when the Wyndham storm.
Yeah, yeah, so,
Took us a long time to figure that one.
so, yeah, please, slow down. All right, anybody else? Town manager's report.
Confirming dates for our upcoming regular meetings. The first date is December 11th, and then followed by January 8th, 2019. We all set there?
Maybe.
Mm-hmm.
What's coming up in December that we have to do?
Start figure out the budget.
Are we gonna have, when do we get the dates for the upcoming meetings?
The budget meetings? Kathy and I will be doing the schedule, we'll be sending that out, but I'm not sure there's gonna be a whole bunch that early in January. We're gonna be talking about, communicating the goals that you set at your December meeting, working with the department heads and outside agencies, but I don't believe there's gonna be much happening for you at that time.
Well, if anybody has any blackout dates that they don't want budget meetings, then we
Should
use
s-
those.
Yeah, we should get
The
those.
April Christmas, or the April school, I was with grandkids yesterday. The April vacation, school vacation, always seems to be a sticking point for budget finance.
Okay.
When's the town meeting?
I will look
I haven't looked that far ahead. In June.
Second Tuesday.
Why don't-
That's the election.
So that'd be the
First
11th?
Tuesday.
So maybe if you got us that'd be helpful, if you got us your dates that you know right now are a problem, at least we could have the selectmen's dates be in some semblance of order before we send it out to the Budget Finance Committee.
I know I'm gonna go on, like a week, maybe we can have the end of April, just don't
That's
know.
where it comes in. isn't it?
Yeah, I'm thinking maybe even the 3rd or the 4th week. April 19th is, it's usually Patriots Day is when it starts school vacation, but I think it might be the week after that I'll be gone. So if we can do it earlier in the month of April.
You can just email me any dates.
Yeah, I
Okay.
think
Let me find your dates.
that'd be the most helpful thing, if you could email any dates.
Then at least we can start by having people where they would be.
Right. So as far as the Board of Selectmen meetings, are those dates okay?
Yep.
Okay, so we're on to the holiday schedule. Thursday, November 22nd, Thanksgiving. Friday, November 23rd, day after Thanksgiving.
Okay, so town office, just a reminder for people, it's the Thanksgiving week is gonna be closed Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, I believe, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Treasurer warrants, oh, anything else, Don?
Well, there's been a lot happening. I'd like to recognize Nathan. He and his crew have been very busy, and I think have gotten a lot done besides brush cutting and getting those trucks. He's working on getting trucks outfitted, and I'm highly confident we're gonna have them before the snow flies, right, Nate?
Hope so.
So we're working on that, and we're hoping for, even though we've had enough rain, rain right now is a little bit better than snow, but we'll be ready, and so thank you, Nathan and crew, for all of your work. And there was a wonderful event a couple of weeks ago at the fire department where we took acceptance of our new tank truck and all the ceremonial stuff around that. It was dedicated in memory of David Maines, which was nice. Bruce and the department did a very good job on that. So that was a significant grant-funded piece of apparatus for the town. So congratulations to the fire department.
I need to back up a minute, there's a selectman comment I need to add on there. Playground, the Mill Street Playground, we have a new climbing unit down there. We've got it up, we had bought 2, a huge one, it's gonna go in the back corner, and we have a small one from like, it says 2 to 5, but I think it's like 1 to 4 or 5, you know how 4 and 5-year-olds are. So that's ready to go, the big one won't be put up until the spring. Okay, Nathan.
If the weather holds, we're gonna try to do it right as soon as we get done with winter sand, if the weather holds. That's our plan, we're trying to
He gets
follow
my
up.
hopes up all the time,
Well,
and I'm gonna be pestering him.
It's
again.
gonna snow Friday, so
Yeah, it is. So, nope, so that's good. So if you guys are wondering what's going on down the playground in there, you got the works going as far as 2 climbing units down there, and yes, exciting. So, we've already done the treasurer's report. Can I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
To adjourn.
All in favor?
Thank you.
Third, fourth, fifth.